Thank you all for taking time to be here this afternoon. We know the media and we know the public are anxious for resolution to the missing person investigation. We know there are certainly more questions than answers, and we wish that we had those answers for you. Let me assure you that the investigators are working day and night to resolve this as quickly as possible. As with all major crime investigations, it is a delicate balance to provide the public with as much information about this investigation as possible without jeopardizing the investigation itself or any future potential court case. A thorough investigation is key to not only resolving this case, but also holding whoever is responsible for the disappearance of Nathan, Catherine, and Alvin accountable. Today, our officers, along with our partners at the RCMP, are once again searching a rural property outside of Airdrie in connection to this case. The search will continue until no stone has been left unturned. A truck was seized from this residence on the weekend, matching the description of a truck caught on CCTV in the Park Hill area. Investigators are still working to determine the relevance of the vehicle and confirm any connection to this investigation. An Amber Alert remains in effect as tips continue to come in from across Canada, and we continue to seek public assistance and would like to hear from anyone who has any information regarding the whereabouts of Nathan O'Brien and Catherine and Alvin Lickness. I will take your questions now, but please know I'm unable to get into any investigative details or speak about the man who was taken in for questioning, as he was released from custody and has not been charged in relation to this particular investigation. Also here with us today is Inspector Garrett Woolsey, W-O-O-L-S-E-Y. He is the commander of the Special Tactical Operations Team for Airdrie and in charge of the search operations outside of Airdrie. So I will answer what questions I can.
So is this still considered a missing person investigation?
Right here?
Is this still considered a missing person investigation?
It is still considered a missing person investigation.
At what point do you decide to call off the Amber Alert?
Well, that'll be an investigative decision based on the number of tips that are still coming in and information that we're receiving. So at this point, we are still receiving tips from the Amber Alert, so we will remain or have that remain in effect until such time as that information is no longer coming in, and then the investigators will determine if they're going to pull that Amber Alert.
Are you still hopeful that they're alive?
Absolutely.
What gives you that indication?
We have no indication whatsoever to indicate anything other than that. So our investigation continues. We have probably close to 100 people still involved in this investigation. We'll continue to put the resources we need to into this investigation, and at this point there's no indication otherwise, so we are hopeful that we will find them alive.
What about the signs of violence in the house, though? Does that speak to a risk that they might not be here any longer?
It's a concern, absolutely, but there is no evidence at this point to indicate one way or the other, so we are going to remain hopeful.
What are you searching for in the fields?
I'll get into if you want to. Sure. Well, I'll pass back and forth with the inspector.
Just to reintroduce myself again, I'm Inspector Garrett Woolsey, Woolsey spelled W-O-O-L-S-E-Y. I'm a commander with the RCMP Special Tactical Operations Team, currently working in conjunction with our Calgary Police partners in the Airdrie area. Special Tactical Operations is an RCMP unit comprised of officers that volunteer from across the province to engage in operations just like this. So we're currently involved and integrated with our Calgary Police partners in the ground search operations in the Airdrie area.
Yesterday, the search moved from the previous main fields around the property to Range Road 290. Is there any particular reason, like the police vehicles race there very, very quickly? Is there any particular reason that there might be interest in those fields, or is it just kind of a scanning generally?
The way the search operations work is the teams are tasked based on the investigative priorities identified by the investigators. In this case, the investigators are based in the Calgary Police Service, so we're working very closely with them. We have major crime unit members from the RCMP working alongside those officers to ensure that we're exchanging information on an ongoing basis. As to whether one area might change from one target to another, as I said, we are assigned these priorities from the investigators. When we change from one area to another, it's not necessarily because of a major investigative development, it's because of another priority identified by the investigators.
What
How
priority
big
was
is your search
identified?
area?
Over here, so how big the search area is? Right now, we're looking at an area that's several square kilometers. And again, we don't know currently if we're going to have to search that entire area. It's based on the priorities from the investigators.
So
You're
what
not
made this a
looking for
priority,
bodies in
sir?
the bushes.
What made this a priority, this particular area where you're at now?
Yeah.
From the search end of things, we may not know, and we probably don't know. That's something that's going to be held with the investigators with Calgary Police Service.
In other missing persons investigations, members of the public have been used to search large areas. Why is this just police?
We are currently looking for evidence in relation to a missing persons case. That's why we're using solely police officers. I could,
You're not,
We
sorry, can I have a
also-
follow-up to that question?
Certainly, go
So
ahead.
you're not looking for people, you're looking for evidence?
we're looking for evidence in relation to the missing persons investigation.
Are you
That's
looking for
correct.
bodies in those search areas?
We're looking for any evidence, any information with respect to missing persons.
Yesterday, forensics came out onto the scene as well. There was the fire department that came out with a Remington plumbing craft. Just curious, any evidence whatsoever that came from that?
There are items that have been taken from that location. There's items that have been taken from the home. Those have all been sent up to the crime lab. We're working closely with the crime lab. Whether or not that has any relevance to this file, we don't know. It is part of a fairly complex and thorough investigation, so we will seize items that we're not able to identify, or if they're relevant, we don't know. Certainly as part of that search and part of being as thorough as possible, because there is water in that area, it is why we deployed the fire department dive team.
Have you gotten
say
any
what those
results
Can you
back
say what
yet?
those items were?
No, I cannot.
So you earlier
Have you
spoke-
received any results back from your testing?
We have received some items back, or results back, but there are a number of other results that we're waiting back from the crime lab. But we're not going to talk about what we got back, what relevance it may or may not have. We're going to wait till we have all the items back and the report back, and then we'll determine the relevance to the
Are we-
file.
What's
Are
the
we,
time frame on that?
in terms of priority, how does this case rank when it comes to working on evidence? Does it get put in the queue, or has this gone to priority one?
No, we have, we're working very closely with the crime lab, and they are expediting the results for us.
Are we any closer now to finding these people than we were a week ago?
The investigation still moves forward. There are a number of leads that we're still following up on. But I won't get into what we're doing, what resources we have deployed specifically, or what items are following up on, just to say that it is still moving forward, and as more information comes in, we will deploy what we need as far as resourcing.
At this time, is Douglas Garland the only person of interest that you're looking at?
There are other investigative leads that we're following up on, so he is not the only person of interest that we're looking at.
Did you say he's been released from custody?
He is still in custody of remand on another matter.
Sorry to clarify, did you say he's not the only person of interest?
There is other investigative leads that we're following up on. He's been a person we brought in as a person of interest that we have interviewed, but there are other investigative leads that we're following up on.
Sorry, just
But
to
you
clarify.
said-
But I won't get into
But you
who,
said there are other persons of interest?
no, investigative leads that we're
But
following
no other
up on.
persons of interest?
Not at this
Are
time.
there other scenes that you're searching?
I'm sorry?
Are there other scenes that you're searching?
At this
besides the house
time, no,
area?
we have the address on 38, I think is, yeah, 38A Street. That's still in our care and control. And then we have the property out in Airdrie. So those are our two primary search areas now,
How long
Last
do you
week you said-
anticipate being out in that search area?
as long as it takes, until we have a good thorough search completed and we're satisfied that there's nothing in that property.
So
Can you
last
elaborate
week-
on the connection?
I can't
between
say how long
Douglas
that'll
Garland and the Lickness family?
I can tell you there is a loose family connection. I understand that Mr. Garland, his sister is common law with a relative of one of the Lickness family members.
Were they business partners at any time?
I don't know that.
Have
So
you
last
talked to
week you
the-
said that at least one person was likely injured in the violent altercation. Do you have any more details as far as whether or not there was more than one person injured at that home?
No, those are investigative details that I won't get into.
Have you figured out which of the people who have disappeared were among those injured?
I won't get into that.
Can you talk about how the family members are doing at this point? You must be in constant contact.
We are daily. Of course, they're devastated by this, but we keep them looped in on all of the investigative things that are moving forward. But as you can understand, this has been a very traumatic experience, and they're devastated by the loss of these family members.
So I think there's kind of an assumption among a lot of Calgarians at the water cooler that you guys almost have this thing solved, so they don't need to get on with stampeding and, you know, their lives. What do you say to that? Are you still an Amber Alert going on?
Absolutely, and you know, we've had, we anticipated there was over 200 people that initially went to that estate sale. So far, 88 people have come forward. 88. So we still would like to have folks who are part of that estate sale come forward. We absolutely are asking folks who live in the area or anybody that may have additional information to come forward. We're also asking people that have a look around your own properties if there's anything missing or suspicious. Also, if no matter where you are, if you see anything suspicious, a vehicle, person, any kind of activity, you absolutely need to call us. So we are welcoming tips and still require information from the public.
Is there any reason why you're focusing solely on that area by the acreage and anything? I mean,
Well, we asked the public to identify a potential vehicle. We had a potential vehicle identified to that address, so this is just part of that investigative follow-up. It happens to be a very large area, and so that vehicle was seized. Again, we don't know if the address or the vehicle or anything is going to have relevance to this investigation, but we have to be thorough, and because of the size of that, we've employed our RCMP partners, and it's going to take time to search that area properly.
these people could be anywhere though. They could be east, west, north, south.
The investigation and the other things that we're following up on continue. Not all of our resources are stopped and dedicated to waiting until the search is completed on the RCMP
Have you
property.
identified any other green Ford trucks? Are you taking any more?
We are still asking the public if they have, I mean, it's a unique truck in that its color and its age and the year. If folks know of any other vehicle that potentially could match that description, absolutely give us a call.
Do you have any more currently that you're looking at or that you've towed away or?
No, not that I'm aware of.
You mentioned
ruled
some.
out that the F-150 you have is the correct vehicle? Do you
No.
know that?
I mean, it's a vehicle that matches the description of the vehicle that we put out. But we don't know if it's related or the actual vehicle that was seen in the CCTV.
You mentioned
The
some
longer
results
these
have come
cases
back.
go on, the more difficult they can be to solve.
Yep.
Is there a possibility that this may never be solved?
Well, we are going to dedicate whatever resourcing we need to and be vigilant and continue for as long as we need to. So at this point, we're still optimistic, and we're hopeful that we're going to find these folks, and we will continue on as we are at this point.
You mentioned some results have come back. Do you have any idea when, because you mentioned some of the testing has been returned, is there any idea about when more of the results will come back?
It takes some time to do analysis like this. So it's the items are being sent up and others are coming back all the time, but we're not going to get into what has come back or what those results were, and we'll wait till all of the items that we seize come back, and we'll determine the relevance to this file.
When Mr. Garland was in custody, was he helpful at all with this investigation?
He was cooperative, somewhat cooperative, but was cooperating.
Did he give you any reason to focus on the Airdrie acreage?
We are focusing on the Airdrie acreage just because of the vehicle that was attached to that address and as part of the investigative follow-up.
At this time, does Douglas Garland face any other charges?
Not that I'm aware of.
Inspector, over the weekend, there was some stuff on social media reported citing Brooks. We haven't been able to get anything about that. Was there any sightings?
There have been sightings, and when a sighting is reported in our CMP jurisdiction anywhere in Canada, we'll liaise directly with the Calgary Police to ensure that that particular sighting is appropriately followed up.
Are there any particular challenges of searching that area that you're running into?
You know what, as far as searches go, it hasn't been bad. The terrain is pretty good there. It's farming country. I think it's 27 degrees out today, so we're taking some really, really careful precautions with our people on the ground up there. to make sure that they have enough food and water to keep them going for as long as it takes, and that they're taking sufficient breaks to do the very best job possible that they can.
Do you have a timeline for how long you expect to be okay?
Indefinitely at this point.
Inspector, you said that earlier that some items were taken from the home and as well. Was it the area around the slough that where items were also taken in for analysis and investigation?
Yeah, all I can say is that there were a number of items taken during the search with our RCMP partners. I won't get into what those were or where they were found, but they have been seized and sent up to the crime lab to see if they're relevant.
So is it fair to say that they have been seized in and around that initial Airdrie acreage?
Sure, yeah, yep.
When you do
Back
searches
to your
like this,
question,
do they
sorry,
know-
just one follow-up to the earlier question about the sightings. We have had tips, Amber Alert tips, and potential sightings on these 3 family members right across Canada. So we have had to follow up on those to see if they were relevant, and if in fact they were. We have not been able to confirm a positive sighting of the 3 since they disappeared, but the tips continue in right across Canada. Go ahead, right here.
When you do searches like this, does it normally expand out from a center, or does it usually start wide and then zero into a certain spot? Seems to be a little bit unusual the way you do it.
No, in this case, we'll do the initial area first. For those that have been in and around the house, you've seen that we've used the Calgary Search and Rescue folks, and our search area has expanded into the neighborhood, and it has expanded again a little bit further into the neighborhood. So initially, we'll do the scene and the immediate area from where we potentially have identified possible evidence, in this case the F-150, and now the search will expand from that, and if we need to expand it further based on the information we have, we will do that, and we'll continue as far as we need to in this investigation.
Do you have any more questions, guys? Couple more.
Sorry.
Sorry, you said earlier that you didn't know whether there were a business partnership between the two.
I did not.
Do you know if there was any sort of business relationship, period?
No, the only connection that I'm aware of is the family connection. Go ahead.
Can you confirm the blood was found at the scene?
No, I won't confirm that.
Have you gotten any further as to the motive, potential motive?
No.
Will you have an update for us tomorrow?
Well, that depends if there's investigative information that we want to share. We will certainly keep you looped in as things move forward.
Have you used the helicopter to do night searches, the
Yes,
technology?
yeah, we have used our Hawks helicopter as part of the search.
Have you used it at night with that?
You know, I don't know if we've used it at night, but certainly it has that technology. I could follow up on that, but at this point, I know that it has been used to search the area.
Can you elaborate on all as to whether there's any sort of connection with this new area being searched, apart from the fact that it was another investigative lead? Is there any sort of connection to the Garland family or to the Lucas family?
No, the new search is in the Airdrie search.
Yeah, well, the new property that they're searching.
I think it's just an
near the-
expansion of the general proximity to that initial search area, and it could expand even further from that.